welcome to another video. So today I'll be walking you guys through how you can switch or how you can move your Vue.js based project or your Vue.js app onto nuxtjs. What is nuxtjs, by the way? So if you don't know what nuxtjs is a Vue-based framework. It's sort of like a framework that is built on top of Vue to help facilitate development, right? And one of the key things I love to think about when I think about Nuxt is making my Vue.js application search engine optimized. So like working on the SEO of my Vue.js applications. Now, if you want to know more about Nuxt.js, you can, Google this and hop over here and, try to figure things out. But trust me, Nuxt.js is really, really cool. And I haven't used Nuxt.js before. This is my first time. I have been trying a couple of things with Nuxt.js, and I think I would probably move from using the normal Vue.js to using Nuxt.js. Well, Nuxt.js is still Vue.js, just that it's Vue.js with additional features, easy to work with when you're working on development and all of that, right? So essentially, this is what we'll be working on today. We will be converting this Vue.js based project. This is my portfolio, and I don't know if any of you have checked this out before or whatsoever thing. This is my portfolio. It was built with Vue.js straight up from the ground and Vuetify. By the way, this is the code. This is the code of my Vue.js portfolio. Now we will be switching from Vue.js to using Nuxt.js. So if we move on to the documentation, we will see that we need to install Nuxt.js, or better still, create a Nuxt.js app, and I'll be using npx for this, right? So if you're having it says here that make sure you have npx installed if you want to use npx. Npx is shipped by default since npm 5.2.0. So you have npm 5.2.0, you would automatically have npx. So I don't know, I love using npx. Either ways, use yarn, use npm, or I don't know, it's all the same thing for me, right? So if we move to our folder structure on here and we open our terminal and we want to create a new project, what we would do, what we copied there, we just paste it on here, and the name of our application, which is going to be Nox JS portfolio, right? And I hit enter. While this loads, I'm just going to pause it, and once it's done, I'll resume. So once we have that, we're going to be asked a couple of questions by Create Nuxt App. Right now I'm using version 3.7.1, which I believe it's a stable version. So the name, I just want the name to be that, and I want to be using JavaScript for this, and I'll be using npm. Not that I don't like yarn, but for this one I'll be using npm. Well, I've been using npm pretty much most of the time. And for the for the UI framework, I am using Vuetify. So note, if you are using any framework which is on this list, you just pick it and you're ready to go. It would automatically be installed as you are creating your Nuxt.js application, right? Now I'm using Nuxt.js, and Axe use progressive web app. I don't need any of this, not really necessary. As linked, no, nothing. Known, yes. And here is the big thing, right? Here we have universal SSR and SSG. This is universal. It's kind of like you want to have the possibility to have server-side rendering. Essentially, this is the big thing I love about Nuxt. Like ever since I started doing in-depth research about Nuxt, having the possibility to your application or your Vue.js or your app you've built with Nuxt to be rendered on the server and sends HTML through your browser. So it basically renders everything on your server and shoots everything back to so rendering is done on the server side. If you choose single page application, it's still gonna be okay, but we want the possibility for our app to be rendered on the server. And that's essentially where we're going to have that SEO functionality where we'll be able to add meta tags and all whatnot, right? Now, I'll be using Node server. Okay, recommended for Vue for VS Code if you're using, okay, if you're not using TypeScript. Okay, I'm not using TypeScript, so I'm going to pick this. Okay, yes, that's my username. Using Git, yes, and it's installing. So I'm just going to pause this and I'll come back when it's all done. Awesome. Now that we have everything installed, successful creation of projects, Nox Js portfolio, and I'm pretty excited, right? So we will be moving to that directory, or just hit ls to check where I am, and Nox tab, and I'll just open it in VS Code. Oops, that was a capital. Awesome. So if you're not familiar with this code space dot, if you have VS Code installed, you just go to any directory and you hit code space dot, and you would open VS Code in that particular directory. So once we have everything installed, we are going to have a basic file structure like this, like a base. Not every file or not every folder in here is important, but you might just want to use what you think it's gonna be necessary for you, right? So we have the components. If you look at this, if you've done Vue.js before, if you look at this, it's somewhat like Vue.js, right? It's kind of like Vue.js. We have a components folder where we keep all of our components. We have a layout folder where we say how we want our layout to look like, right? Essentially, that's the thing. And this is something I really love about Nuxt.js. It has a default arrow.view, which an arrow page which is displayed whenever you try to access a route which is not existing, for example, right? Which I think is really, really awesome, right? Now, we have our modules, not modules. We have our pages. In Vue.js, if I go back to my portfolio, Vue.js here, you're going to see views, right? Views in Nuxt.js is sort of like pages, the way I see it, right? It's sort of like pages. You create your index, you create your this and that and that. Now, if you in Vue.js, we have Vue router, right? We have our router where we do everything, or we put in, we declare our, we import our Vue from the views folder. We use vue.use router to use router in our Vue.js application, and on here we have an array of our routes where we declare our routes and blah 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 and everything. None of this is needed in Nuxt, right? Let me tell you, this is really easy to do with Nuxt. With Nuxt, routing is done automatically, right? Inside the pages, everything you put inside the pages, it's sort of like a route, right? Index.view, think of it like index.html. When the file is hosted to a server, or say if you're doing PHP, for example, when it is hosted to a server and you try to access the default, file inside a server, it looks first for the index.html or for the index.php, or I don't know whatsoever thing you're using, right? So that essentially is the thing. So this is going to be sort of like our home, right? And here we have our static. If you want to host your static site, everything you can generate that on here. And we have our store on here, which is pretty much like in Vue.js. So you create your store, just that it comes with a little bit of customization and all of that. I might have to cover this in subsequent videos, but yeah, that's the thing. And pretty much like here we have a couple of files, this and that, and in here it's the configuration of Nuxt.js, the nuxt.js, nuxt.config.js. This is where you configure your Nuxt.js application. I really love this because this is really, really customizable. And one thing you don't like, if there's something you don't like, you can just remove it, or you can just, disable it, or you can add other features by, checking out these links which are proposed on here, right? Essentially, that's the thing. Now, after doing all of this, what we want to do is we want to switch our Vue.js portfolio. This is my Vue.js portfolio, like I said from the beginning, right? Oh, like there's a picture not displaying. So if I refresh, this is my Vue.js portfolio, and I want to switch this. So if you look in here, you're going to see Vue.js is detected on this page, right? Once we will switch this to Nuxt.js, you will see Vue.js and Nuxt.js is detected on this page. So it's going to detect, this is the Vue.js extension, Vue.js DevTool extension, the official Vue.js DevTool extension I'm using. Okay. So this is my portfolio, and I want to convert this to Nuxt.js, right? So it's pretty easy, guys. It's really, really easy. Now, here we have our Nuxt.js portfolio. We go on to our Vue.js, and what we do is we highlight all of it's just really, really easy. You just copy every single component like you built it in Vue.js. You copy in your normal Vue.js app, right? And you come over here. You make sure you delete all of this, right? All of the components on there, and then you paste it on here, right? Awesome. This is great. Now let's start our server. I have this npm thing. I just click on here. But if you want to run your Nuxt.js application when you're in development mode, or you want to access your server, you want to run the server, you just hit npm run dev, right? That's the thing. And it's going to give you a listing at the port on your local host. You click on there, you to your Nuxt.js application once you've installed it. All right. This is pretty slow, so it's not running. Something is wrong, definitely. Okay, awesome. Well, we have an error about section. Okay, we're having this error mostly because we deleted the initial files, right? If you don't delete the initial files, you're not gonna have these errors. Now, what we want to do is we want to move over to our pages, and we want to get rid of this. Really important. Inspire, that's the default file that was generated. Now in our index, we want to go to our home, like the home, like when you're working on your Vue.js application, home.vue, right? And notice that we will just have to copy our template on here, right? We just copy our template on here, and we come on here and paste it, right? When we paste it on here, it automatically works. Notice I didn't have to say, create a script on here and have to say, on here, import, blah, 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 blah. No. In Nuxt.js, we don't do this. And this is essentially what I love about Nuxt.js. It makes things just easy for me to build my projects like on the go. I don't need to export, import, register my component. It's done automatically, right? Now, notice we have errors. We have a couple of errors. One of the errors is because I didn't copy the image, like my about image, which is this image on here. I didn't copy it. Like the new project doesn't have it, so we're kind of like getting an error. Errors compiling. So I'll just hit straightforward there and try to copy that. That should be in the assets folder, footy.png. Copy. I really do love copying from VS Code because it seamlessly works. Yeah, I hope I just copied. I copy it and I come on here, my assets, and I just paste it on there, right? Once I'm done pasting, it should run pretty smoothly, right? It shouldn't have issues. Go to my Nuxt.js application. You see what we have here, right? We have, it's not exactly what we want, but it's gradually coming to life. Like we have each and every sections of my portfolio popping up on here, right? Now we want to remove this because this is something that came with the default installation of Nuxt, like the template we had like from the beginning, like from the start. So we want to eliminate this. We want to remove this and have our own menu. So in our Vue.js application, since I imported that the that in here, like the app bar. This is my app bar on here. Since I imported that in my app.view, I'll just come copy this on here, and also my footer. I'll copy my footer as well, maybe later on. I'll move on to my Nuxt.js application, and I'll go to my index. Is it my index? No, it's not my index. It's my layout, right? Layout is sort of like how, you want your app bar to be this way, and how the whole overall layout of your project, of your application. And I'll have to put that on here. So I have to eliminate this essentially and have mine pasted on here, right? So I'm clearing this up. Yes, like this. Guys, notice I'm not a pro in Nuxt, okay? I am just, trying to learn. And if there's anything anyone wants to share with me, just feel free to put it down in the comment section, and I'll be happy to learn from you. Yeah. Now we have this. Now we have it set up already. Let me try refresh real quick. Our menu is not yet popping up. Did we even paste menu? No, we didn't. So we copied, but we didn't paste. So if I paste it on here, right, I think it should be able to display. Beautiful, awesome. So we have it on here, right? And we have our dark mode just seamlessly works, right? Just works like that, right? Now, we need our footer as well, because we don't have any footer. We don't have any footer like the one we have here. We don't have any, like Made with Love by Footy Coats. We don't have any. So we will go back to our Vue.js application and copy our footer and come on here and paste our footer, right? We'll paste that on there. Once I paste that, we should be able to have sort of like our footer, right? Awesome. And that's pretty much everything. On my Vue.js application, when you click on home, it takes you up. Like, it's a single page application, a single page website. When you click on contact, it goes down, it goes this, it pretty much just hovers, goes through that section of the page, right? Now, notice that the same functionality automatically works on here. This is the reason why I'm saying that Nuxt.js is nothing but Vue.js, right? It just makes it easy to write Vue.js code. And we notice that there's a border here which we don't have on the normal portfolio, on the one which was written in Vue.js. So I think it should be a container issue. If I just take the container away and make our Nuxt just like this, this should work. And I think there's some space above. It should be my main, right? If I remove my main and I save, that should be fine. Awesome. So we have this, right? It works pretty much well. Awesome. Now, there's something I want to talk about on here, right? You notice we have this Nuxt, right? This Nuxt is basically, in simple terms, right? It means your view will be rendered here. Think of it like when you're working with router view, like Vue router. Your router view here is an equivalent to Nuxt, right? So Nuxt renders all of your views on here, right? Which is really awesome. Trust me, it's really amazing. So that said, I don't think I need any of this anymore. I'll just clear this up, and look how tidy this is, right? It's just really cool. Really cool. I don't have to import anything or do whatsoever thing. It just seamlessly works. Now, we notice that if I refresh, all right, it automatically turns my dark mode. This is because in my config, right? So if I go to my nuxt.config.js and I hover beneath, I'm going to see my Vuetify, the Vuetify sections, the Vuetify's module, or whatever thing you might call it. If I check on here, it says the dark theme is set to true. So if I set it to false, by default, I won't get the dark theme, right? I would get the white theme instead. And that's essentially what I want, right? I don't want my portfolio is not necessarily visited by tech people. Well, maybe most of the time by tech people, but not everyone loves the dark mode. I just want to give you the possibility to switch from light mode to dark mode or whatsoever thing. Oh wow, Vitify is not properly initialized. Okay, I think there's an issue somewhere. I think I'll just save this again and see what we get. False. Just hold on. So this is even something I want to talk about, right, guys? Look at this. This is an error, and it looks really good. Like, you can even click and see exactly what's going on. I mean, this, I love it. It's really awesome. Now that's done. I and boom, we have it, right? So sometimes you have to save, and sometimes, I don't know about you guys or other Nuxt.js developers out there, but I don't know if it's even my computer, but sometimes I have to save and wait or, restart the server or whatsoever thing, right? So this is essentially the thing. Now, the last thing we will be touching on here is the title. You look at this, you see the title is pretty messy, but if you hover on here, you'd see the title is pretty neat. Like, it looks good. It actually looks visually appealing, right? To do this, it's really easy. You just head over to your Nuxt.js application, and still inside your nuxt.config.js, you just copy paste what you have on here, right? So if I come over here, just copy paste Code's portfolio. If I copy this, and here is like the title template. So I want the title template to be sort of like portfolio, and I want the title to be Codes, for example. Right? Awesome. This is really good. Awesome. So if I do this and I refresh, I should be able to see the changes right away. Oh, the server is still rendering. Okay. Now this is what I was talking about. When I was clicking, it wasn't saving, like, so I have to come back here and I save again for it to collect the new changes, right? Awesome. Now that it's done, if I refresh, I should be able to see the changes. Beautiful. You notice how it's just looks good, right? Now, one of the things I really wanted to cover before ending this video is the SEO part of things. Now, this is the Vue.js project, and this is the nuxtjs project. By the way, if you look on here, you'll notice that the logo has changed, and it's now saying nuxtjs plus Vue.js is detected on this page. And if I come over here, it says only Vue.js is detected on this page, right? Now, there's something I really wanted us to cover, which is the SEO part of things. If I come over to our Vue.js application or to our Vue.js project, and I hit Control U, like I want to see the source code, notice how it's just vague. It just doesn't say anything, nothing meta, nothing. But if I come over here and I hit Control U, right, I am going to get the code, like it generates the actual code, and we look on here, we're going to see our meta tags and meta links, right? And if I go down, that's the HTML, the CSS up there. If I go beneath, this is my website. This is just my website on here. This is it, right? It's pretty good. So that's one thing I love, guys. Sorry about the noise. If you're getting some noise behind on the background, I'm really sorry. I'm at home, and it can be pretty noisy sometimes. So yeah, so this is essentially what I wanted to cover. So now if I want to set like a meta tag or something, I want to set like, what's the point of having a site which is not SEO optimized? If I want to do that, maybe I maybe come here and GitHub, right? I want to copy, for example, my about, right? My about, for example, and passionate sophomore from Africa. If I copy this, essentially, I should be able to paste it on here, I should be able to paste it on here. And notice we have an array called meta, right? Meta, Charles said UTF-8, name, viewpoint, blah, 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 or what we see on website. And here we say contents. So if I just paste this on here and I save, and I go back, once everything is compiled successfully, I go back to my Vue.js application. Seems like it's still compiling. I'll just have to wait. Now, once it's done compiling, if I come back on here and I refresh, you should be able to see the changes. Not that I should be able to see the changes on here, but on the source code instead, I should be able to see the changes. Like if we look up on here, content is going to be actually initialized to something, right? So while this loads and I hit Control U to see what is going on, guys, notice we have name, description, content. Notice we have this. This is just how you can, this is just one in a million of things you can do to make your website or your project or your Vue.js, your Nox Js project SEO optimized. I hope you guys love this video. I really hope this helped. And if you really want to see subsequent videos like this, or if you want us to work on Nox Js projects or that sort of thing, like I said, I'm not a pro in Nox Js. I just saw it, like someone recommended Nox Js to me and said it's pretty good to use if you're using Vue.js, and I'm trying it out like we're doing right now. And I thought it would be cool I do this video on how to switch from a Vue.js project to a Nox Js project, essentially for anyone who already has a project up and running and wants to have it on Nox Js. So this is how you do it. So guys, thank you once more for watching this video. If you love this video, please give it a thumbs up to support us. It takes a lot of time to set up these things and have the video up and running. So please give it a thumbs up, share this video, and drop down a comment. Tell us what you think, and yeah, happy to have you on board. Oh, please don't go yet. I forgot to say you should subscribe. Please, you mind subscribing? Please, I really need that. Thank you.